I mean, John Cena cares about John Cena, right?
And people, I swear to God, I swear to God, because of John Cena, his career is over in the WWE for no reason outside of because of John and his personal issues.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
Against a couple of them, and John wanted to do things a certain way, and we told him, you're wrong. Remember that? And he did it anyways, and it sucked.
Let's take a real deep look at who you really are.
You've been a disappointment since they brought you to the dance. You a slut for opportunity. You're blowing every chance. But you actually believe that I'm a shark, that I hold everybody down, that I swim to the top and keep them underwater at any and all costs.
You're a bully. You're a horrible person. You take the weaknesses of others and you turn them into jokes. You would do anything for fame, John.
If you think of the course of human life, no one is perfect, right? And it's very tough each day to wake up and live a good life. It's tough to be mistake-free. So that's like human trajectory. We all go through patches where we make decisions against our value system. We all turn heel at one point.
His time is not now, it's every time. John Cena is the biggest commercial phenomenon ever produced by WWE. Hulk Hogan was the protagonist at a time when pro wrestling was much less profitable than it is today. The Rock is certainly a bigger star, but much of his success comes from Hollywood. So when it comes to fame and commercial success inside the WWE rings, John Cena is the man. 7 of the 10 best-selling pay-per-views in the history of the organization had him as the protagonist. He is the biggest seller of shirts and toys. Like I said, the man.
It's the franchise, boy, I'm shining now.
But the truth is that for every success story, 1,000 others will have to fail. And John Cena didn't reach this level of success without having to bury some other talents and be a terrible person to some people in his personal circle. So, in today's video, we're gonna bring you John Cena's victims inside and outside the ring. But first, I would humbly like to ask you to subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up and click the bell. Now, on to the content. Let's start our video with one of the most popular backstage stories in WWE. There are so many theories about what happened between the two, ranging from John Cena trying to elevate Riley's career and him snubbing Cena's good deeds, to Cena being a variation of P. Diddy. And well, you know. But let's get to the facts. After 3 years in FCW, Alex Riley got the chance of a lifetime in 2010, when he became The Miz's sidekick and played a crucial role in his rivalry with John Cena, putting his face in prominent moments like the main event of WrestleMania 27 and Over the Limit in 2012. Alex had it all. He was charismatic, had solid in-ring skills, and was handsome as a motherfucker. But his career definitely didn't work out, and all the evidence points to Big Match John being to blame. But what exactly happened? And that's the most complex part of the story. Everyone who has ever spoken about it has always chosen to be extremely evasive, certainly for fear of saying too much.
There's a lot of stories that went around that Cena politically cut the legs out of Alex Riley. Any insight to that at all? Or?
Alex Riley would think that. And you know, it's every man for himself. It's an unspoken understanding. But to sabotage someone's career, that's a different thing. I don't know if he did that.
What was the beef between the two? I've heard a lot of different stories. I've heard weird stories and I've heard other stories.
I don't know. I think there was times where I guess Cena wanted Riley to embrace the locker room mentality and come have some drinks and you know, if you don't want to, it's not that you're disrespecting the locker room, the way the system's in place, because there is a hierarchy, there is, you know, seniority, and you have to pay your dues. And I don't know what happened.
And if this response from Santino, speaking as if he had a gun to his head, wasn't enough to convince you that there was something dark behind this dismissal, see how disconcerted Alex gets every time he has to talk about the subject.
The rumors were out there for a long time, and then Ryback addressed this, that John Cena had some sort of effect on your career. What exactly happened there?
Yeah, so it's hard to, you know, it's hard to really put a label on it, and I don't, you know, did he have, you know, some of the things that, you know, I think it came down to really at the end, like two men just not liking each other. And then I'm going to also say that there was a situation where he stood on his belief system of what he believed it took to be a main event wrestler in the WWE, and I stood on mine. And that's as far as I'm going to take it. He's not here to defend himself. I would never do that to another man in that business. I've spoken my piece on Instagram the best I could. But I believe that certain somebody deserves the right to defend himself.
And before anything else, I'd just like to make a disclaimer. I look for this post on Riley's Instagram, but look at this mother's feed. 10 photos a day, and all of them come with some kind of cryptic message, not to mention how random they are. To give you an idea, there's even a photo of him praising John Cena's heel turn. So if you think I'm gonna spend hours looking for a post that will most likely be just another cryptic message, you can go suck a dick. But of all the theories we know, I think one of the most appropriate men to speak on the subject is Ryback. Not only because he is close to Riley and also hates Cena, but also because if there is any madness and slander about anything related to WWE, Ryback is exactly the master you should follow.
Is Cena and people back in the Cena, and this is he would have people on his bus occasionally with things, because Cena has his tour bus when he was up there, and this is from information that I'd got from Alex, and Cena had taken a liking to Alex and had him on his bus after the shows, and then that was the and I don't know how long, if that went on for a week or for 2 weeks, and from what I was told and what I know is probably not what happened. I'm going to tell you without telling you and let you guys form a conclusion, and hopefully we could, like Alex at the right time, if he's under an NDA, he never can, but people can look into this because it's an abuse of power, is that there was a lot of drinking going on. All right, that was what this is, and this was from Alex to me, is that there was a lot of drinking going on with it, and eventually it was Alex didn't want to drink anymore. This is just some of the things. John would sit by the monitors, and I'm not the only one. I would sit right next to him with this, because John would sit by the monitors and just destroy Riley and just talk about how much of a piece of that he was, how horrible that he was, every single day. All of us, me, Usos, everybody would just look at each other like, what the is wrong with this guy, with all of this? And I will always speak highly of Alex Riley, because that man has been nothing but professional, was hardworking, and did everything. And I witnessed it firsthand, and I witnessed the things that happened with me and lived it with that. And that guy did nothing wrong. And they with him, and then they put him down in NXT, and the guy had no business going back down. And what I believe, and this is again just what I believe, is I believe they finally either convinced him or got him to sign an NDA, and then they got rid of him. They fired him, and his life was never the same again. And that man did nothing wrong with it, but like, this is the abuse of power from Cena, like, hey, you got to come drink on my bus with that. And the drinking was, I do believe the drinking was going on, but there was more than drinking that either happened or was asked to happen, and Alex declined. And then and if that story comes out, that alone will destroy John, and it will fucking, because people are going to see the real John Cena with it. But that comes, why does John, this is just common sense. Have you seen John? He was on Howard Stern recently. John, in that weird relationship that how he talks about Vince. Did you witness that? Vince, we know Vince's mindset and behavior, right? So there's a weird, and that behavior gets, for people that get close with him, it's a thing. Yes.
So, Puff John Cena is a new mythical figure? Jokes aside, this whole sexual story seems to me simply too crazy to be true, not to mention that it has no basis. If John Cena really had this kind of pattern of molesting new athletes, or if his relationship with Vince was so close and shady, how come his name didn't leak in the Janelle Grant case, like Brock Lesnar's did? But exaggerations aside, seeing everything there is to analyze this case, there is a huge probability that Cena and Riley had different opinions. Riley certainly challenged his authority, and this must have led to many moments of verbal abuse from Cena, which motivated Riley to sign an NDA. But remember that all of this is a theory with only one certainty: John Cena Alex Riley. According to Ryback, physically, but no one will know about that. Aaron Stephen Haddad had a brief stint in WWE in 2006 as Idol Stevens, but failed miserably. He, however, kept fighting until 2012, when he returned to the big event as Damien Sandow, a presumptuous intellectual whose goal was to educate the masses by beating up the good guys in the company. But lack of logic aside, this was a good character who got people's reactions at the time, and here it's also worth remembering that it was 2012, a shitty period for WWE, creatively speaking, so any character who was even minimally above average in creative terms would have the public's appreciation. But on the night that John Cena would make Damien his victim, he wasn't even in the ring to defend himself. July 15, 2012, Money in the Bank, when John Cena won the briefcase for the first time, which, up until that point, nothing special. Cena wins, as always. But the problem was that all the winners up until that point had used the briefcase when the champions of that period were shot to have some greater advantage in winning the title. But there was no way that John Cena, the last of the good guys, would try to take advantage of someone like that. So he announced that he would fight CM Punk on the 1000th edition of Raw, so that both would have a 50% chance of winning. The result was that he got his ass kicked and left a very negative status for the biggest star in the company, that of being the first man to lose a shot at Money in the Bank. Going into the following year, Damien Sandow won the SmackDown briefcase, earning a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship, and guess who the champion was? Exactly, Big Match John. And if you put one and one together, in order to erase the stain of John Cena being the only challenger to lose a title for Money in the Bank, they needed to put another loser in, to suffer that defeat at the hands of John Cena. And to make matters worse, this chance came right after he attacked John Cena and left him with one arm completely helpless. That is, John Cena, with just one arm, defeated the poor guy. I don't even need to say that he would never fight for a world title again, and his career from that moment on was never the same. On WWE TV, the dude was all smiles, shaking hands, granting wishes, basically the human embodiment of a golden retriever. But on Total Divas, my guy was running his house like a goddamn supervillain. Let's start with the infamous move-in contract. Oh yeah, because when your girlfriend moves in with you, the first thing any sane person does is hit her with a legally binding 3-page document outlining all the rules of the house like it's a goddamn prison intake form. Nikki Bella was thrilled to move in with her man. 26 boxes shipped across the country, everything unpacked, all cozy and settled. And then Cena, in peak corporate mode, pulls up like testing on Big Brother. And you might be thinking, okay, he's just a little eccentric. Maybe it's not that bad. Nah, it gets worse. Cena's house, colder than a morgue. No decorations, no family pictures, no warmth. But wait, there's more. One night, Nikki, like the good girlfriend she is, decides to cook for him. Spends the entire day preparing a beautiful romantic dinner. Cena comes home, sees the food, and his first words?
So I take it we're not going out?
No.
Bro, what? Your girl just spent hours making a 3-course meal for you, and the first thing out of your mouth is disappointment? Men out here are coming home to microwave McDonald's leftovers, and this dude is acting like he just walked into a crime scene. And just when you think it can't get worse, Nikki, trying to be cute, says, I can't wait to cook for you more. And Cena, who at this point might actually be an AI robot, doesn't react like a human being. Nah, he barely touches the food and spends more time cleaning the damn table than enjoying the meal. But you know what? Fine, maybe Cena is just an obsessive clean freak who doesn't like home-cooked meals. But then Total Bellas happened, and my guy, oh, he fully committed to being the supervillain of the series. Okay, stop me if you've heard this one before. A big foreign monster builds up an insane undefeated streak, looks like an unstoppable force, and then, boom! Out of nowhere, he gets completely derailed by a man in jorts. Of course, I'm talking about Rusev, the Bulgarian brute who, by 2015, was one of the most despicable, hateable, perfectly crafted villains in WWE. The guy leaned hard into that classic evil foreigner gimmick, tapping into America's deep-seated anti-Russian paranoia. Was it cheap heat? Absolutely. Did it work? Hell yeah, it did. And to really piss off Uncle Sam, Rusev did the unthinkable. He won the United States Championship, and not just won it, he dominated. No one could stop him. He was smashing through the roster like a Slavic wrecking ball, undefeated, unchallenged, and looking like the next big thing in WWE. And then John Cena happened. Because, obviously, who better to stand up for America than a guy who played a fake Marine in a direct-to-DVD movie? Yeah, company logic dictated that Cena was now as American as George Washington and a bald eagle wearing a football jersey. America! And in a shocking turn of events, Rusev actually beat Cena in their first match at Fastlane. That's right, he won. It was like seeing a unicorn, rare, beautiful, and something you just know won't last. So WWE did what WWE does best. They ran it back. WrestleMania 31, Rusev goes all out. Dude pulled up to the event on a goddamn tank, like an actual real-life tank. The kind of entrance that makes you think, wow, this guy's gonna be unstoppable for years. And then Cena beat him, because of course he did. Much like Umaga before him, the moment Rusev clashed with SuperCena, his fate was sealed. They could have let Rusev get the rub, solidify himself as a true monster, build him up into a legit main eventer. But no, instead, Cena had to put him in his place, like a high school bully stuffing a nerd into a locker. And just to make sure any remaining credibility was completely obliterated, WWE ran it back 2 more times. Extreme Rules, Russian chain match. Rusev lost. Payback, I quit match. Rusev lost. Oh, and just when you thought Rusev might recover from this burial, Cena did it again in 2017 just for old time's sake. This should have been a career-defining moment for Rusev. Getting to feud with one of WWE's biggest stars should elevate you, not send you plummeting into the shadow realm. But instead of using Cena's star power to launch to this feud, it was all downhill. The League of Nations flopped. Rusev Day, a joke that got over despite WWE. Feuding with Nakamura, yeah, that went nowhere too. Instead of yet another name on the long list of SuperCena casualties. But nope, the man in jorts must stand tall, always. The Nexus. Ah yes, the Nexus. A group of 8 rookies hell-bent on taking over WWE, making a statement and carving their names into history. Well, at least that was the plan, until John Cena turned their entire existence into a glorified punchline. Let's rewind to 2010. The Nexus was formed as a squad of angry, rebellious upstarts, led by the first ever NXT winner, Wade Barrett. They burst onto the scene by absolutely obliterating everything in sight. The ring, destroyed. The announce table, flattened. John Cena, dragged, and for a brief, shining moment, it looked like WWE had finally created a dominant faction that could reshape the landscape. These guys weren't just some random mid-card group, they were the future. But then, John Cena happened. Fast forward to SummerSlam 2010, the Ultimate Showdown, Team WWE versus The Nexus in a 7-on-7 elimination match. This was it, the perfect moment for The Nexus to cement themselves as a real threat. Hell, even Edge and Chris Jericho, actual veterans with working brains, tried to tell Cena that The Nexus had to win. John, listen to us. If these guys lose, they're dead in the water. And Cena, in all his infinite wisdom, responded with, nah, I got this. And what happened next? SuperCena pulled off a comeback so unrealistic it made Marvel movies look subtle. After getting DDT'd on the concrete, a move that should have put him in a coma, Cena magically regained consciousness, eliminated Justin Gabriel like he was a jobber on Main Event, and then humiliated Wade Barrett to win the match. That's right, 7 guys buried in one night. And just to be extra petty, the burial didn't stop there. No, Cena made sure to stomp on the grave a few more times for good measure. Barrett got humiliated in a chairs match at TLC, where Cena literally buried him under a mountain of steel chairs. The Nexus turned into a joke. Within months, they were nothing more than a group of punching bags. Their revenge plan. Oh, WWE had Barrett get Cena fired at one point, but, spoiler alert, he was back in 2 weeks. And just like that, the most promising faction in years was dead. Wade Barrett tried to recover, became Bad News Barrett, got over. WWE said, no, we don't like that. He tried again with the League of Nations. That flopped too. Eventually, after years of injuries and nonsense booking, he walked out in 2016. The rest of Nexus, forgotten. Lost in the void, faded into obscurity like some kind of tragic wrestling ghost story.